can't fail. I can't. There's no pain that feels like this. So none of any kind of reservations or any fear that I've had. We all have fears of doing something. I'm about to come at you, and I'm gonna come at you hard. And if you're in my way, I'm gonna run it through you. I'm running through you. I got people in my life that I'm trying to pull with me. If you're not trying to go to the place in the level that I'm going, I'm gonna leave you.
And you have to. Yeah.
I'm gonna leave you. And I think as I've sat back, man, for this past month, it's like I refocus in a different way. I have a different lane that I'm about to go in, and if you ain't around, if you ain't ready for that, yeah, I fear for you. I fear for you. Yeah, I fear for you.
Welcome to Download Success, a podcast where we sit down with business owners and entrepreneurs and discuss life, strategies to manifest success, and the ugly truth about running a business.
Yo, I'm Chris. I'll be your host here at Download Success. I'm also a small business owner and entrepreneur here in the central Kentucky area. Owner of Cornerstone Masons, your go-to masonry and design company.
And I'm Phil, your co-host and executive producer of Download Success. But in real life, IRL, I run a full-service custom web design company based in Lexington, Kentucky, Click Factory.
Welcome back, guys. We're back with Twany Beckham. If you missed the first part, go back and listen to it right now. You guys are in for a serious treat. This journey is just absolutely phenomenal, and where it's came from and where Twany's going now. Drop what you're doing, get in here, take a listen.
Let's dive right in.
The good thing about your story, Twany, and I can relate so much, is the amount of stuff that I went through in the beginning. So a lot of the things that I get to go through now are minor, man. It's like, but it says businesses have ups and downs. Individuals do too. Tell us some of the strategies for persevering through the difficult times to keep from giving up. And I know you just went through a really tough situation.
Yeah.
What are some of these? What are some of the strategies that you've used previously from previous experiences that's helping you now, regardless of what situation that is? Can you share a little bit about that with us?
Yeah, just man, like you mentioned, businesses, people, friends, family, like we all go through something, and businesses have ups and downs. You got good years, you got bad years. But how you approach that means a lot, especially when you got people working for you or you carrying the load. If you run into some adversity and you don't handle it well, then your people ain't gonna handle it well.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Your company ain't gonna handle it well. So when hard times come, and you have to always realize that, listen, I'm successful, we successful, we doing a good job. As long as we can approach it from the mindset of we control what we can control. We worked as hard as we could. We covered all bases. There's going to be some things outside of our control that we can't control. And so you can't get down, or you can't put your head down when those things happen, right? Like COVID.
Yeah.
COVID, I know, messed up a lot of speakers' kind of business. I was one of them. When you can't get into the schools, you can't get in front of people, and then you got to go do it on Zoom. And I saw where a lot of speakers were saying that they didn't like to do the Zoom, and I didn't like it as well, because it takes away from that personal touch that you have with people in person.
The energy that you're getting back. Yeah.
But you know what? I said, you know what, for the people that did book me to do Zoom, I gave it everything. I still prepared like I was doing it in person. I still gave that same energy like I'm there in person, looking in the camera, trying to motivate you and get you up at this rut, because we was going through a lot in COVID. So it's just all about mindset and how you approach life and how you approach the adversity that comes in your life. And so, like I said, with COVID being a thing that killed a lot of speakers, I think a lot of speakers persevered, through it.
Most of them didn't make it through.
I watched a lot of people didn't make it through. I watched, I studied Tony Robbins, and I think he said, COVID, I think he's one of I think he makes, I forgot what it was he makes your speaking, but it's some astronomical. But he took COVID and I think built, I forget how much money he said it cost. I know it's $7 million. Studio in his home. And so now
set up shop right there.
He set up shop in his home. So now instead of having to go speak somewhere where there may be 14, 15,000 people, now he's got these cameras and these microphones and all this in his home where now he's touching 400,000 people.
The world.
Yep. And so he was able to kind of reverse something that looked like a negative and made it into a positive, but it was how he approached the situation. And so you see people like that, and you're like, damn, if he can do that, I can do that. It might not be on his level, it might not be able to what the people that he's reaching, but if I can kind of, still prepare and still, approach those Zoom speakings as if I'm in person, then we all win in the end. So it's all about your mindset.
All about your mindset. I agree.
I don't see I don't have no negative days. I don't. Nothing ever shakes me off of my stoop. And a lot of people when I tell people that, they get confused by that. I say, man, you gotta have some down days. You gotta have some times where everything ain't all peaches and cream. And I say, I'm not saying that I don't, because we all have emotions. We all go through things. But whenever those adversities hit me, I always see the positive. What can come out of this? Because if I sit here and continue to think about the negative, then I ain't gonna be able to get up from
stay stuck, man.
Stay stuck.
Yeah, man.
And like I said, I just lost my mother and my grandmother in the same week. Never thought I would ever experience something like that. Extremely close to both people. My mom's my best friend. And it knocked me down. It's the first time in my life outside of losing my career to back surgery that I had that feeling. And this was even worse because I come from, the person that I came from is no longer here. The person that was my inspiration, that everything I wanted to do in life was to please her and to help her. It locked me down. Yeah. But I never looked at it as a negative. I never tried to sit in the negative. I try to sit and just kind of what would she want me to do? So it kind of took me a while to get back up, but I never once had like any negative or self-sabotaging thoughts that wouldn't allow me to get back up. I knew I would get back up, and I knew I would get back on this journey that I'm on. I just didn't know when, and I didn't know what that looked like, because then I'm living a completely new life without the person that I've always wanted to please, and the person I've always wanted to be the best I can be for. That's no longer here. So now it's like I'm still trying to figure out now what does that look like, but I'm trying to find the positive into what that looks like.
And then too, I think and I've shared this with my daughter. And I'll share it with my son when he's old enough. I went through a lot of this stuff so you guys don't ever have to. So even though I may not know how I'm going to get to this next step at the moment, or how I'm going to persevere through this situation at the moment, ultimately I love the way your mind works, man, and I'm at a point now to where I try to stay optimistic as opposed to pessimistic, looking at a situation to where, because I can get stuck, bro. I can get in a situation, man, and start saying the what ifs or this happened, and I'll stay stuck. But to be able to persevere through that situation, which I know you are and you will be that much more ground to be able to stand on, to be able to help someone else who may be experiencing that in the future. Especially with you being a public speaker, man. The people and the lives that you're going to touch is going to be unreal. Yeah.
And for me, man, I feel like I'm about to go to a place in life that I've never been. And I'm not going to say a successful place, it's just a place of joy that I've never been. And I say that because I've had in my body, we all have emotions. We all have fear. We all are afraid of something. Everybody's fear is different. But any fear that I've ever had in my life is gone. I'm not saying I will never be fearful of something. Right. But that's gone. You can never tell me anything that will hurt as much as losing my mother. Sure. I would never face anything, any business. My business could close. Nobody could ever book me again to speak. And I'm going to be okay, because nothing's going to rip my heart out like losing my mother and my grandma within the same week. So I'm about to go to a place now that, I know my mom's looking over me, my grandma's looking over me, and I think it's going to get scary. I think it's going to be, I'm just kind of scared of where that's what that looks like. You know what I mean? Because now I don't got no limitations. I can't fail. I can't. There's no pain that feels like this. So now I'm, any kind of reservations or any fear that I've had. We all have fears of, doing something, I'm about to come at you, and I'm gonna come at you hard. And if you're in my way, I'm gonna run it through you.
Get up out my way, man. You're holding me back.
I'm running through you. I got people in my life that I'm trying to pull with me. If you're not trying to go to the place in the level that I'm going, I'm gonna leave you.
And you have to. Yeah.
I'm gonna leave you. And I think as I've sat back, man, for this past month, it's like I refocus in a different way. I have a different lane that I'm about to go in, and if you ain't around, if you ain't ready for that, I fear for you. I fear for you. Yeah, I fear for you, because it's like now I'm coming at you. I don't care what you say or what you think about me. I'm always gonna do good business. I'm always gonna try to help you if I come in your path. I'm always gonna treat you right, treat you the best way. But if you in my way, man, it's over with.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? In a good way.
Yep.
I'm never gonna disrespect you and never do that. But some lanes that I'm in, it's about to get scary.
Yep. And, I like it a lot, man. And I think too, for me, I had to get to that point, man, to where I'll just cut some people off. And as much as my heart goes out to people, I think that there's a thin line to where I'm enabling some BS, or I'm giving you a hand up and trying to help you along. But if you're not going with me, I got to leave you where you're at. Yeah. I got to leave you where you're at, man, because you're just in my way. You're in my way. Get out of my way. I'm going to run over top of you.
Yeah, man. Exactly. And look, unapologetically as well.
Unapologetically,
I don't mean no harm to you, but you're in my way.
Yeah.
If you ain't trying to come, but your mind frame, your mindset, your work ethic ain't where mine is, then I gotta leave you where you at. And no disrespect, I love you.
That was tough for me in the beginning with people that I cared deeply for. Philip, you got to witness this firsthand. The people that I love with my whole heart, man. And I'm thinking, why don't you understand? And if you understand, because I overanalyze everything, and I'm just a very analytical, driven person when it comes to being goal oriented, and I'm going to get there. It may take me a little bit longer because I'm going to take this direction and I'm trying to figure this out because I am analytical, but ultimately I'm going to go, and I'll take you with me. I will, bro. I'm going to put you right here, dog. I got you. Let's go.
I remember you saying that. You always said, if you want to come with me, I'll take you with me. If you can't handle this,
hit the road.
I love you, but see ya.
And it took me.
Hard. It's hard when it's your family or your friends.
Yes.
That's very hard. It's hard because I think sometimes they see people who are successful, but it's what you don't see what makes that person. I think that's what. I think if people see more, I think I'm gonna do a better job of this. Is showing the grind, because I think if people understand how hard you work, then that'll weed them out.
How can you convey that though?
Yeah.
How can you convey that without actually? And I think that this is. So we can sit down here, Twany, you, me, Philip, and discuss every aspect of our business. But there's really a lot of things for me that I can't put into words, right? As far as the hustle is concerned, as far as the drive is concerned, as far as the discipline is concerned, the responsibility that comes behind the decisions that need to be made, and they need to be made right now. You don't have time to sit back and think about what I'm going to do at this moment. I need to make a decision right now, and I better make it, because I've been in those situations to where those decision making has come back to back, and I need to make them right now. So, people, sometimes it is tough, but sometimes I think I know that it's necessary to just leave people where they are.
And a lot of times, you're right. You can't. A person can't feel the work that goes into what you all do, just with words. And that's why sometimes you got to show them. And I think, man, social media, that tool is so powerful that, because I understand I drove 40 minutes from where I live in Lexington, and I already know you all studied, you all put in the work, you all probably did your research on me. You set up the cameras, you set up, that takes work. This isn't nothing that you just hop out of bed and say, well, he's here, let's cut the no, it takes work. So what does that look like on the back end? I mean, you can show that person, wow, I want to, because a lot of times somebody will come to you and ask you, how do I start a podcast? but they're not gonna come to you and say what goes into starting a podcast. It's how do I start a podcast? Well, you say, well, this is what you do, but no. This is how you start a podcast. It takes setting up getting your platform set up, getting the cameras, studying, doing your homework, doing the research, staying up all night, kind of talking to each other,
being passionate about
and that's why I think people don't understand until you try to get into the game, and then you're like, wow, this is too much work for me.
Yep.
You know.
Yep. Yeah, Philip, you and I was just talking about that. He told me when we first started this, because I do stay out. Like, you know, I run a masonry company, plus I'm a full-time single dad. I'm going back to school Monday, start back to school Monday, so I'll overwhelm, but it's not overwhelming anymore. But, you know, you and I were talking about that, Phil, how, you know, it's just... it's a lot of work that goes into this, and don't get frustrated in the beginning.
A lot of work. Yeah,
don't get frustrated in the beginning when you don't see the results that you think you should see, because nothing worth having is going to come easy.
Nothing.
And there's going to be some work that's involved in all that.
Yeah. Well, and I think with anything new that you do in life, there's a learning curve, and you learn how to prepare yourself for the next step.
Yeah.
And that's what we're doing here. We're learning every single episode we do. We're learning something that we can do better next time. We're preparing, just like we prepared for you to get here. We set up the microphones and everything. We were preparing for this episode for
but
the next
ultimately
thing.
What I want from this, aside from the fame, I don't care nothing about a spotlight, bruh. I don't care nothing about a piece of money. I've made and wasted more money than most people ever see in a lifetime on some other stuff. Is to be able to utilize this platform as a place to be able to reach back out and help somebody. That's what's fulfilling to me, right? And, you know, we're put here on this earth, as my personal opinion and experience from what I've went through, to be a blessing, man. We're blessed to be a blessing, regardless of what that looks like, whether it's financially, mentally, emotionally, physically, or spiritually. So, and it's how you utilize it. So, like what you were talking about as far as the podcast or whatever endeavor that we've taken on is concerned, there's a lot that goes into it. That passion that I was talking about, which I can see that you have, to be able to reach these people and to utilize this platform for exactly what it is. It's a platform to serve a purpose, and that's to reach back down and help somebody else, man, achieve some healing or achieve a different level of success in their business or a different level of success in their mental health. You know, whatever that looks like for that person. But I believe that we're going to be exactly where we're supposed to be at the exact moment, and that person, whether, like what you were talking about, if I'm speaking in front of 500 people, there may just be one person in that group that needs to hear what I've got to say, and I have to be okay with that, because it doesn't matter who else is around me yawning and wiping their eyes and ready to get up and go, because somebody right there needs to be touched, man. They need to be touched, man. So what are some of the unique strategies for acquiring and retaining customer base, and what does that look like as far as public speaking is concerned?
We just talked about it, preparation.
Okay.
You know, when you go to, for me, when I go to every event, man, I prepare. And it's funny because my team of people that I work with, they know. You know, I wake up early I start preparing maybe, depending on when the engagement is a couple of days before. I sit down with my team and I say, okay, do we know everything about the place I'm going to speak at? If we do, okay, what message do we think is going to fit best? Because I can speak from, you know, I got several different topics that I can speak on. I mean, I can speak about pretty much anything. And so I start preparing a couple of days before. Once it gets to the night before, you know, I do some things at night. I got my processes. I wake up early in the morning, run through my spiel, and then get on the phone with my team. We pray. We get to the spot. We pray. And so when I go on stage, I don't look. You're never gonna look at me and say, "Oh, he's not prepared." So I give my all to every engagement that I have, and so when people see, they feel that. When they see you and they see how good you do and how well you prepare, they feel that. And so for me, when speaking, the biggest thing is word of mouth and referrals. You know, it's been so many times I've spoke somewhere, and before I've even left, the person that booked me has come up and said, "Oh, we've had people ask me how can they contact you," which I tell them when I'm on stage. But people asking how can they contact you just for you to speak at their organization or their school, or people come up and ask for a picture and say, "Hey, what's your contact so I can get you to come speak to our kids or our company?" And so I think when you show up and you're prepared, people feel that. But so when it comes to our publication company, it's the customer service you give them. You always want to communicate, even if you over communicate and communicate. Don't ever leave the customer wondering. So if they got to email you and say, "Hey, when am I getting my update? When am I doing this?" Then you already kind of missing the boat. Yep. So you need to be ahead of that. Sure. Even if you don't know the answer, you don't have the answer. At that point, say, "Hey, I know that we said that you were going to receive this edit. We don't have it yet. We're still working on it. Look for it next week." Instead of them emailing you and asking you where it's at.
Be proactive in whatever you're doing.
Be proactive in your customer service, and always treat people how you want to be. I think I put it in. I always treat people how you want to be treated. If I get a client that can come to me, and you would know this, a client that can come to me and spend $2,000 on a book, or a client that can come to me and spend $10,000 on a book. The money is not what matters.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Yep. So I'm always going to treat you. You want to be an author? You want to write a book? I'm gonna help you write the book. That's all that matters.
Good deal, man. What are some of the strategies you found to be beneficial in creating balance between your personal life and what does your personal life look like today, Twany? It sounds like you've got your hands involved into several different endeavors. So just like I'm sure you're busy, what do you do in your life to create balance? And because I've got to have personal time, bro. Like I just do aside from work. But I can get so consumed because I'm passionate about what I do into my work. I have to make myself stop.
Yeah, make yourself stop. Yeah. So it's, as we talked about it, I have to come up with a new norm. I know what I did before my mom passed was because help taking care of my mom while also trying to do business and work, have a job. It was rough, trying to find time in there, but it was rough. But I've always had these processes, and one thing I always do is I get up in the morning and I go to the gym. So I get my rest at night and I get up in the morning. I'm in the gym at 5:30, and that starts my day. The high that you get from working out is, I think, is unexplainable. You get home, you take a shower, you didn't grind, you didn't work out, so then I'm already in that mode. Let's go.
You kind of feeling yourself.
Yeah, you feeling yourself. Yeah, man. I don't know how people. I'm not opposed to it, but I don't know how people go to the gym after work. Yeah. After they've completed their day, then go to the gym. I'm burnt out by the time I end my day. So I go to the gym. I look at my agenda. I try to have a pretty narrow focus on what it is I have to do that day. I always want to be able to X off everything on my agenda for that day. But I make sure that I read. Reading is one of the most important things that you can do because it's always exercising your mind, exercising your brain. So right now, you would say how many books am I reading? I'm probably reading 10 books right now. And how I do, I know a lot of people like to just focus on one book, but I like to hear different voices. So what I do is I'll pick up my book Pressure. I'll read a chapter, and then I pick up another book, read a chapter. Then on my lunch break or when I got some time, I pick up another book, read a chapter. So I'm getting all type of voices and getting all type of perspectives at one time. So then when you look up in a month, and then you read 10 books within a month, instead of spending 1 month on one book, kind of slow walking it. Now I'm dibbling and dabbling into multiple books at one time. So I make sure I read, make sure I journal, make sure that I go do yoga. And people think, oh, well, I don't have time. There's nowhere I could go to do yoga. No, you can go to YouTube, dim your lights, cut your lights off, light a candle. Put your TV on YouTube. Find all you gotta do is Google yoga sessions, and a million videos gonna come up. Get dressed, get your mat, sit there and do your yoga. You cut you some YouTube on some. I always like to go to Indian flute music. Do my meditation.
What's it called?
Indian flute music. Okay. So do my meditation. Okay. You know what I mean? So then at nighttime I like to read before I go to bed. And then I'm now learning to get off my phone like an hour before I go to bed, because I know I've saw where studies show that if you're on your phone at night, when you get into bed, it's hard to go to sleep.
You'll be restless. Yeah. I like the fact that I'm not the only one that will read 4 pages, put it down, and pick up another book, man.
The rest of the world calls that ADHD.
Is that what they call it? Oh, goodness. Is there anything that we didn't cover, Twany, that you want to go over? We did cover quite a bit, but is there anything in particular that we didn't cover?
Yeah, so I think that's how I met Phil. So I started a company called Better Lifestyle Events.
Okay.
And I'm so excited about this because we talk about mental health. We talk about taking care of yourself, what that balance look like, what does life look like for you now. I'm so excited about this because now I'm in the business of helping people figure that out. And so what Better Lifestyle Events is we're going to be having events that are centered around not only just physical wellness, but if it's mental health wellness, or whether if it's financial wellness, or just finding a balance in your lifestyle, how to eat, how to eat. And my first event is in March, and I'm having a conference at the Muhammad Ali Center. I grew up 2 blocks from the Muhammad Ali Center, called A Journey to Wellness. And it's a 2-day conference, March 9th, March 10th. It's going to be one of the best conferences that my city's ever seen. I'm going to do my best to have the best speakers, the breakout sessions. It's going to be a mental health portion to the conference. So I'm telling you, it's going to be a 2-day conference that you do not want to miss, because those questions we talk about of how do you maintain a balanced lifestyle through the trauma, through the situations, through life. I'm going to have speakers. We're going to have classes. We're going to have stuff that's going to touch on that. Yeah, and so I'm super excited about it. And so I had called Phil. I was trying to get a website built, but he gave me this astronomical price. Didn't give me no discount, didn't show me no love or nothing. You know what I mean? I got a new business I'm trying to start, and they give me no love. No, I'm messing with you, man. But so I have that company that's fresh, starting. So we're working right now behind the scenes to pull all this together for a 2-day conference. There's a lot of work that goes into that. But I have solidified all my speakers. I got all my breakout sessions. So now I'm on trying to finish the website part of it and trying to get the marketing done. Yeah. And then we start, putting tickets and stuff out and information in probably another month out there so people can see it. Yeah,
good. I've taken note of it. I'll definitely show up unless God has other plans. But you feel me?
Yeah. No, I'm telling you, it's going to be one of the biggest conferences in what we're selling and what we're doing that you could go to. I mean, you're going to be touched in some way. I've tried to bring in people that can touch on all aspects of life. The people that I want to fill the room are going to be people that want to be there. Mm-hmm. And so it's going to be nice. So if you come, if you participate, I'm telling you, it's going to change your life.
That's important.
And what are the dates again?
March 9th and March 10th. They all-day conferences from 8 to 5.
And it's the
at the Muhammad Ali Center.
Yeah, what you said.
The Muhammad Ali Center.
I've been watching a lot of Tyson, man, and he's so inspirational now, from a tough guy, not to get off subject, but a boxer, man, that just dominated the ring, right? And then that's the intimidation that came behind that. You could hear him, early on, how he just talked to people, and, just talking to this guy, I'm like, bro, don't hit me, man.
Tyson,
But now he's on some different, some different level stuff, man. I think that, the more that we grow and the more that we mature, life humbles us. It has a way of humbling us.
Sure. He got a documentary out, I think, on Hulu right now.
Does he?
I think so.
Okay.
It's either Hulu or Netflix. Okay. I think it was something that came out that he wasn't a part of it, that they put it out anyway. But I want to go check it out, though. I think it's about his life.
Yeah, man. I love stuff like that. I love watching people go through some things and then come out on the other side. He went to prison, lost his mind. Mm-hmm. I seen his house, and I was in Connecticut, man. I lived up there about 10 years ago, and you could 50. I think 50 bought it after Tyson. Was it 50 that bought his house
in Connecticut? The one in Connecticut,
yeah, man. So it's a beautiful home. It had landing some goals, right? You fly helicopters in, and these guys was living, man. They was living. They had guard towers on every corner of the house, and these guys was living.
Yeah.
Well, listen, this has been great. I want to, at some point, I'd love to have you come back on, Twany. I think that there's a lot of information up there, man, that we just scratched the surface on.
Absolutely.
On what you've got going on in your life. Some of the projects that you've got together, some of the goals that you're reaching, over and over. But I'd love to have you come back out here and sit down with us, man, after this conference and maybe another year or something, just to see where Twany's at. Okay. After all of this stuff.
I appreciate that, because right now, man, I'm just focused on just getting back to normalcy. I don't know what that looks like I'm trying to figure that out. Be happy, getting back to my joyful self. You know, my smile's coming back.
Yeah, man.
It was hard. It was hard for a while, but my smile's coming back. You know, my passion's coming back. Just my this ability to be who I am is coming back. And so, you know, I don't know what that's going to look like a year from now, but I do know that I'm going to put the work in, and where I know where I'm going is I know I'm going to a place I've never been.
Sure.
Business-wise and happiness and joyful-wise.
I can see God's anointing all over your life, man. Just by sitting and talking to you and listening to your story, I can, and it makes the hairs on my arms stand up, man.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, because God, man, this God that I get to serve and watch. It's one thing to watch Him work in my life, but when you get to see Him work in somebody else's life, and then you get to listen to His testimony, His story, and say, you know, this is, because like you said, everybody's got a story. Everybody. But to sit down on a personal level and get to connect with you and watch how God has just kind of guided you and directed you, and His anointing and His protection has just been all over you, man. It just gives me more hope and just a more of a love for God and what He's doing in this world, man. It's
Yes,
good
sir.
stuff.
Thank you, man.
It's
I
good
appreciate
stuff.
that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but like I say, you can have me back anytime, man. I appreciate the conversation, the opportunity. I know I can't put it off, and I didn't think I would be able to. It's funny, we talked about that at the beginning of the conversation. I feel like I've healed in a sense in this conversation.
Yeah.
I don't know if you could tell, like I started out kind of like my posture was low. I was trying to get through this without being emotional.
Sure.
But now it's like I feel my heart feels full.
Good deal.
You know, so we heal through conversation. We heal through talking about what you've been through.
Absolutely.
And so thank you all for giving me the opportunity.
Yeah. Thank you for the opportunity, man.
Thanks,
I
Twany.
really
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
This has been the Download Success Podcast at downloadmysuccess.com. For more information about Twany Beckham, please visit his website at twannybeckham.com. Download Success. New episodes every Tuesday. Are you ready?